Admiral Kim maintained a stoic expression as she studied the alien message on the bridge's main screen. Inside, she felt a storm of emotions, but her crew needed to see strength now. The Galactic Council's demands were clear. Earth must give up resources, technology, and even some of its people. Commander Park moved closer to Kim. "They can't be serious," he said in a hushed voice. His normally confident demeanor had given way to visible concern. "Our deep space program is barely 30 years old." Kim's mind raced through the implications. Earth had only established a handful of small colonies on nearby planets. They had discovered the existence of the Galactic Council, a massive alliance of hundreds of advanced alien species, just last year. The initial meetings had seemed promising. The aliens appeared interested in peaceful relations. Now this demand changed everything. She thought about the billions of people back on Earth who had no idea their world was being threatened. Most citizens still celebrated the miracle of interstellar travel, unaware that far more advanced civilizations viewed them as little more than a resource to be harvested. "Lieutenant June," Kim called to her communications officer, "prepare a simple acknowledgement of their message. No commitments, no questions, just confirmation we received it." She turned to her first officer. "Commander Park, I need a secure channel to Earth Command immediately." Park nodded and moved to a nearby console. The bridge crew worked with urgent efficiency, but Kim could feel their fear. Many cast nervous glances at the alien message still displayed on the main screen. The Galactic Council's ultimatum had included visuals of their enforcement fleet, massive ships that dwarfed Earth's largest vessels. The images were clearly meant to intimidate. Kim had to admit the tactic was effective. Earth's modest space defense force would stand no chance against such power. "Channel secured, Admiral," Park announced. Kim nodded. "I'll take it in my ready room." She stood, pausing to address her crew. "Continue normal operations. Say nothing of this transmission to anyone not on this bridge." In her private office, Kim faced the screen showing General Moon, the head of Earth's Defense Command. His usually composed face showed rare alarm. "Is this verified?" Moon asked without preamble. "Yes, sir. The transmission came through established diplomatic channels. It's authentic." Moon's jaw tightened. "Their timing is deliberate. They waited until our ships were spread thin with the new colony deployments." "I believe so, sir. They've been watching us carefully." "And what do you make of this demand for human specimens?" Moon asked, his disgust evident. Kim hesitated. "Unknown, sir. It could be curiosity about our biology, or something far worse." Moon nodded grimly. "We're calling an emergency session of the United Earth Government. All colony governors will join remotely. We need you there too, Admiral. The Santiago can reach Earth in 3 days at maximum speed." "Sir, if I leave this sector—" "I understand your concerns, Admiral, but we need our best people at that table. Captain Lee will temporarily take command of your battle group." Kim reluctantly agreed. "Yes, sir. We'll depart immediately." After ending the transmission, Kim stood silent for a moment, collecting her thoughts. Humanity faced its greatest challenge since unifying after the last global war. She remembered her grandfather's stories about those dark days, how close humans had come to destroying themselves. Returning to the bridge, Kim issued rapid orders for their return to Earth. She felt the weight of her next decision. "Commander Park, initiate battle readiness protocol across all ships in our group." Quietly. Park's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly nodded. "Yes, Admiral. And find Director Yoon from the Science Division. I need to know if our new shield technology is ready for field testing." As her orders were carried out, Kim returned her gaze to the alien message. The Galactic Council representatives, 7 different species visible in the recording, looked down at the camera with what she interpreted as smug superiority. One reptilian alien had even appeared to be smiling during the most threatening parts of the message. They expected compliance. They expected fear. Well, they would get neither from her. Lieutenant June approached cautiously. "Admiral, The acknowledgement message is ready for your approval. Kim reviewed the simple text on the tablet, a bare-bones confirmation of receipt with no hint of Earth's actual reaction. "Send it," she ordered. As the Santiago prepared to depart for Earth, Kim watched her crew. Some showed fear, others anger, but all worked with determination. Humans had faced extinction before, from nature, from themselves, and had always found a way to survive. "They have no idea who they're dealing with," Kim said quietly. Park, standing beside her, nodded. "No, Admiral, they don't." The massive engines of the Santiago hummed to life, and the starship turned toward Earth. In 3 days, humanity would decide its response to the first extraterrestrial threat in its history. Kim had already decided hers. They would not surrender. Not a single human, not an ounce of resources, not a scrap of technology. If the Galactic Council wanted something from Earth, they would learn that humans don't give tribute. They fight. Dr. Lee stood before the packed emergency session of the United Earth Government, feeling hundreds of eyes fixed on her. For 3 days, the Grand Hall had echoed with heated debates about how to respond to the Galactic Council's demands. Military officials wanted to prepare for war. Diplomats pushed for negotiation. Economists calculated what tribute might cost. Everyone had an opinion, but no one had facts. Until now. "May I have the floor, President Choi?" Dr. Lee asked, clutching her data tablet tightly. The president nodded. "Dr. Lee has important findings to share. Everyone, please listen." The room quieted as Dr. Lee connected her tablet to the main display system. The large screens around the hall lit up with images of strange worlds and alien species few humans had ever seen. "For the past year, my team has secretly studied all data we could gather about the Galactic Council," she began. Her voice, though soft, carried clearly through the silent room. "What we found is deeply troubling." She swiped her finger across the tablet, and the screen showed the ruins of what had once been a mighty city on a distant world. This was the home planet of the Neri. They were a peaceful, artistic species who developed faster than light travel about 200 years ago. She changed the image to show a barren, cratered wasteland. "This is their world now, completely dead." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Neri refused to provide the tribute demanded by the council. Dr. Lee's voice hardened. They were made an example. President Choi leaned forward in her chair. "How many civilizations have suffered this fate?" "At least 17 that we can confirm," Dr. Lee replied. "And dozens more that submitted to demands and now exist as little more than slave states." Admiral Kim, who had arrived from her battleship just hours earlier, stood up. "You're saying this is their standard procedure? Find new civilizations and either enslave or destroy them?" Dr. Lee nodded. "The pattern is clear. First contact is always peaceful. Then comes the demand for tribute. If the species complies, the demands gradually increase until the civilization is effectively under council control. If they resist," she gestured to the images of destruction on the screen, "and no one has successfully opposed them." President Choi asked, her face grim. Dr. Lee took a deep breath. "Not that we found evidence of, but none of those species were human." The room fell silent again as the implications sank in. General Jin stood up next. "What makes us different? The Council has technology centuries beyond ours." Dr. Lee changed the display to show a timeline of human history. "This is why. Most species the Council targets evolved in stable environments. They developed technology before they developed weapons of mass destruction." She highlighted several points on the timeline. "Humans are different. We created nuclear weapons before we reached space. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times before we unified. The Council doesn't understand species like us, ones that survive their own self-destructive tendencies. You're suggesting our willingness to destroy ourselves is an advantage?" Admiral Kim asked. "In a way, yes." Dr. Lee moved closer to the center of the room. "The Council expects submission or feudal resistance. They don't expect a species that might prefer mutual destruction to slavery. Professor Song, a renowned military historian, raised his hand. Dr. Lee is right. Throughout human history, we've seen examples of smaller forces defeating larger ones through unexpected strategies. The Council sees us as primitive, but that perspective gives us an opening. President Choi stood, drawing all eyes to her. She was a small woman, but her presence filled the chamber. Let me understand clearly. You believe we cannot win a direct conflict, but we might succeed with an unconventional approach. Yes, Madam President, Dr. Lee confirmed. The Council has one critical weakness: arrogance. They follow the same pattern because it has always worked. They don't adapt because they've never needed to. Admiral Kim moved to stand beside Dr. Lee. We need to show them something they've never seen before, something that makes them question whether conquering Earth is worth the cost. The room buzzed with renewed energy. For the first time in 3 days, fear was giving way to determination. Dr. Song from our physics division has a theory about destabilizing space-time that the Council might find concerning, Admiral Kim continued. It's only theoretical, but they don't know that. President Choi's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. You're suggesting a bluff? Not entirely, Madam President, Admiral Kim replied. I'm suggesting we show them that humans would rather burn everything down than surrender. Dr. Lee nodded in agreement. The Council has never encountered a species like us, one that developed the capacity to destroy itself before reaching the stars, yet survived anyway. That makes us unpredictable to them. President Choi looked around the room, studying the faces of Earth's leaders. Then let's give them something unexpected. Let's show them why none of those other species were human. For the first time in 3 days, there was unanimous agreement in the room. Earth would not submit. Earth would not follow the fate of those who came before. Earth would fight back. Admiral Kim stood tall on the polished deck of the UES Defiance, Earth's largest battleship. The ship's meeting hall, normally used for military briefings, had been transformed for diplomacy, or what would pass for diplomacy today. Kim had chosen this location carefully. The Defiance represented humanity's best military technology, though she knew it was primitive compared to Council vessels. Still, the setting made a statement. Earth would face this threat on its own terms. The alien delegation arrived precisely on schedule. 7 representatives from different Council species entered with an air of complete confidence. Their guards scanned the room with multifaceted eyes and tentacled appendages that held advanced weapons. The lead alien, a tall insect-like being called a Xilari, stepped forward. Its hard exoskeleton gleamed under the ship's lights. 2 smaller aliens flanked it, one reptilian with iridescent scales, the other a floating mass of translucent tissue. We expect this meeting to be brief. The Xilari clicked through its translator. We will inspect your tribute and provide further instructions. Admiral Kim nodded politely but did not smile. Behind her stood a small group of Earth's representatives, military officers, scientists, and 1 diplomat. They had rehearsed this moment for days. Welcome aboard the Defiance, Kim said. Earth appreciates the Council's interest in our world. The Xilari's compound eyes flickered, perhaps registering surprise at Kim's calm demeanor. It had expected fear. We trust you have prepared the first installment of tribute as requested. The Xilari's mandibles clicked impatiently. Kim gestured to a slight man standing beside her. This is Dr. Han, our chief physicist. He will be delivering our response. Dr. Han stepped forward. He was not an imposing figure. Short, thin, with gentle eyes and a soft voice. The Council representatives seemed to dismiss him immediately. The reptilian alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. Earth has considered your demands carefully, Dr. Han said, holding up a small crystal data device. This contains our answer to the Council's requirements. The Xilari snatched the crystal with one of its jointed limbs. At least you have prepared something. Many species waste time with pleas and negotiations. Dr. Han smiled faintly. We're not like many species. The Tsilari inserted the crystal into its translation device. A holographic display appeared between the two delegations. The aliens leaned forward, clearly expecting to see lists of resources, technology samples, and human population centers selected for collection. Instead, the display showed a small device floating in space near a star. "What is this?" the Tsilari demanded. "Where is the tribute inventory?" "Please continue watching," Dr. Han said quietly. The simulation advanced. The small device activated, sending out a pulse of energy. What happened next made even the impassive Tsilari step back. The star began to collapse in on itself, faster than should be physically possible. Within seconds, the simulation showed the star imploding completely, creating a rapidly expanding wave of distorted spacetime. "This is what we call a vacuum collapse initiator," Dr. Han explained, his gentle voice at odds with the apocalyptic scene playing out in the hologram. Once triggered, it creates a chain reaction in the fabric of spacetime itself. The effect cannot be stopped or contained. The reptilian alien hissed something that the translators didn't catch. The floating alien's body pulsed with what might have been alarm. "This is a trick," the Tsilari said, but its confident tone had faltered. "Your species lacks this level of physics understanding." Admiral Kim stepped forward. "We have already deployed 27 of these devices throughout Council space, including near your home systems." The statement was a carefully crafted lie. Earth possessed no such weapons. The science was theoretical at best, but the simulation, based on Dr. Han's equations, was convincing because it was theoretically sound. "The devices are linked to Earth through quantum entanglement," Kim continued. "If any hostile action is taken against our planet or colonies, all devices activate simultaneously." The Tsilari's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Earth's xenobiologists had determined. "You would destroy yourselves as well." The floating alien spoke for the first time. "This makes no sense." Dr. Han nodded. "Study human history. We have nearly destroyed ourselves many times. The difference now is that we would take the Council with us." The reptilian alien whispered urgently to the Tsilari, who seemed genuinely unsettled. "The Council has encountered over 3,000 civilizations," Admiral Kim said. "How many developed doomsday weapons before achieving interstellar travel? How many were willing to use them?" None of the aliens answered. The answer was clear. None. "Earth will not provide tribute," Kim stated firmly. "We offer friendship as equals or nothing at all. The choice is yours." The hologram continued playing, showing the collapse effect spreading to nearby star systems, consuming everything in its path. Dr. Han reached over and gently turned off the display. "We have much to offer as friends and partners. Knowledge, art, unique perspectives, but we will not be harvested or controlled." The alien delegation huddled together, speaking in their own languages too quickly for the translators to process. When they turned back, the Tsilari's posture had changed subtly. "We will convey your position to the full Council," it said. Admiral Kim nodded. "We look forward to their response." As the aliens left the meeting hall, Commander Park moved to Kim's side. "Do you think they believed it?" Kim watched the delegation depart. "They're not sure what to believe." "That's exactly what we wanted." The Tsilari representative's compound eyes flashed with colors humans couldn't see, signals of alarm to its companions. Its segmented limbs twitched as it processed what it had just witnessed in the holographic simulation. "This is impossible," the Tsilari insisted, mandibles clicking frantically. "Your species is too primitive to have developed such technology." The Earth delegation maintained their calm positions. Admiral Kim had instructed everyone to show no fear, no uncertainty. The aliens needed to believe humans were capable of exactly what they claimed. Dr. Han offered a simple shrug, the casual gesture seeming to irritate the Tsilari further. "We're full of surprises. Humans approach physics differently than most species." The small conference room aboard the UES Defiance had grown tense. The 7 Council representatives huddled closer together, while the human delegation remained spread in a loose semicircle. It was a deliberate formation, showing confidence, not defensiveness. "We've studied your scientific archives since first contact," Dr. Han continued. His voice remained soft, almost gentle, making his words all the more unsettling. "Council science follows predictable evolutionary paths. You master energy before matter, space before time." He paused, meeting the Siluri's compound gaze directly. "Humans, well, we tend to discover the most destructive applications first." The floating alien, a Mephorian, according to Earth's limited xenobiology database, drifted closer to Dr. Han. Its translucent body pulsed with light patterns that suggested deep agitation. "All species follow similar development patterns," the Mephorian argued. "It is the natural progression of science." General Kang, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. She was a tall woman with a commanding presence, her military uniform adorned with the battle decorations from Earth's last global conflict. "Your historical records show that you've encountered over 3,000 young civilizations," she said. "How many developed nuclear weapons before achieving spaceflight?" None of the aliens answered, but their silence was telling. "How many discovered antimatter bombs before developing replicator technology?" General Kang pressed. The Reptilian Council member hissed something that didn't translate. "That's what makes humans different," Admiral Kim said, her voice cutting through the tension. "We've been trying to destroy ourselves since before we walked upright. We've gotten very good at it." The Xilari turned to its companions, chittering rapidly in its native language. The translators couldn't keep up with the frantic exchange between the aliens. Commander Park leaned close to Admiral Kim. "They're scared," he whispered. Kim gave a slight nod. The plan was working. A new alien stepped forward from the council delegation, a tall, slender being with crystalline features that caught the light. This was a centauri, one of the founding species of the Galactic Council. "If what you claim is true," the centauri said, its voice like chiming glass, "then activating these devices would destroy Earth as well. This is not a rational defense strategy." Dr. Han smiled faintly. "Study our history more carefully. During our Cold War period, we built enough nuclear weapons to destroy our planet several times over. We called it mutually assured destruction. It prevented war precisely because it was so irrational." The centauri's crystalline form glinted as it processed this information. "This concept does not appear in any other species development." "Exactly," General Kang said. "Humans are uniquely willing to risk everything rather than submit to control." Admiral Kim stepped forward, taking center stage again. "We understand the Council's pattern. You find promising species, demand tribute to establish dominance, then gradually increase demands until the species is fully under your control." The Xilari's mandibles stopped clicking, a sign they had struck a nerve. "How did you?" The reptilian alien began, but stopped abruptly. "We're also very good at pattern recognition," Kim said, "and research. Dr. Yoon, would you please display the findings?" A quiet woman at the back activated a second holographic display. It showed the names and images of 17 extinct civilizations, all wiped out after refusing council demands. The Neri, the Velian Confederation, the Tarsus Collective, Dr. Yoon read aloud. All refused to submit. All were destroyed as examples to others. The council representatives grew visibly uncomfortable. "And yet here you are, threatening a species that has deployable weapons capable of initiating vacuum decay," Admiral Kim said. "Weapons that would destroy not just our worlds, but yours as well. Is this a gamble you're prepared to make?" The centauri's crystalline form dimmed slightly, their version of paleness humans had learned. "Your claims will need verification," the Xilari said, but its commanding tone had vanished. Dr. Han stepped forward again. "Of course, we're prepared to provide technical specifications, enough to prove the science is sound, but not enough to replicate the technology." He handed the Xilari another data crystal. "This contains the basic principles. Your scientists will confirm we're not bluffing. The crystal was another part of the bluff. It contained genuine theoretical physics that suggested vacuum decay was possible, but with enough deliberate errors to prevent any actual weapon from being built. If this is true, the Mephorian said, its body flickering with light patterns, why reveal such power? Why not simply use it to conquer others as we have? Admiral Kim's expression softened slightly. Because humans want to join the galactic community as equals, not conquerors or slaves. We understand cooperation better than you might think. General Kang nodded. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times before learning that lesson. Now we're offering the Council a chance to learn it too, before making a terrible mistake. The alien delegation fell silent, the gravity of the situation finally sinking in. We will return to the Council with this information, the auxiliary finally said. As the aliens prepared to depart, Admiral Kim delivered one final message. We await your response. Choose wisely. Admiral Kim stood in the vast chamber of the Galactic Council, trying not to show her awe. The circular hall stretched upward for hundreds of meters, with thousands of alien representatives seated in rising tiers. The architecture was ancient and impressive, blending elements from dozens of species building styles. 1 month had passed since the tense meeting aboard the Defiance. 1 month of careful planning and worry. The human delegation, Admiral Kim, Dr. Han, President Choi, and 5 others, stood on a floating platform in the center of the chamber. They were the first humans to ever visit the Council's central world. Small but fierce, whispered Dr. Han with a slight smile. Kim nodded slightly. Earth's bluff had worked better than anyone had hoped. The Council scientists had examined the theoretical physics of the supposed vacuum collapse weapon and found the concept sound. They couldn't know that Earth was decades, possibly centuries away from actually building such devices. The auxiliary high speaker, the most senior representative of the Council, stepped onto a raised dais. This auxiliary was larger than the one they had met before, with more elaborate markings on its exoskeleton. Its compound eyes gleamed in the soft light. The Council has existed for 15,000 years. The auxiliary high speaker addressed the assembly, its translated voice echoing through the chamber. In that time, we have encountered many species, but none quite like humans. Kim exchanged quick glances with Dr. Han and President Choi. They had practiced keeping their expressions neutral, regardless of what happened next. Humans developed in isolation on a world filled with predators and extreme environmental challenges, the high speaker continued. They are the only known species to have nearly destroyed themselves multiple times through their own actions, and yet survived. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. The unique path of human development has led them to discover concepts and technologies in an order no other species has followed, the auxiliary said. Their approach to physics, to warfare, to cooperation, defies our understanding. President Choi stood tall, her formal Earth uniform gleaming under the Council lights. Though small in stature, she projected the dignity of humanity's elected leader. Therefore, the High Speaker announced, we recognize Earth and its colonies as independent sovereign territories, exempt from tribute requirements. Furthermore, we invite human representatives to join the Council as observers, with the potential for full membership in the future. The chamber erupted in sound, some cheers, some protests, many simply discussing this unprecedented decision. Several species had never seen exemptions granted before. We did it, Dr. Han whispered, his face maintaining its careful neutral expression. Admiral Kim gave a tiny nod. They're still afraid of us, but it worked. After the formal announcement, the human delegation was escorted to a smaller meeting chamber for direct talks with the Council leadership. 7 senior Council members waited for them, representing the founding species. You should know, the Centauri representative said once the doors close, that some on the Council suspect your vacuum collapse technology may be less developed than you claimed. President Choi smiled politely. We understand such suspicions exist. Yet the Council voted to recognize Earth's independence anyway. Admiral Kim noted. The auxiliary high speaker's mandibles moved in what humans had learned was their version of a thoughtful expression. Because you showed us something new, it said. In 15,000 years, we have followed patterns that worked. Find promising species, establish dominance, guide their development, harvest their resources. Control them, Dr. Han added quietly. Yes, the auxiliary admitted. But humans revealed a flaw in our approach. Species that develop along unusual paths may create unexpected dangers. President Choi nodded, or unexpected opportunities for cooperation. Indeed, the Centauri said, its crystalline form glimmering. Many council members are curious about human culture, art, and science. Your unique evolutionary path may offer insights we have never considered. As the meeting concluded and the human delegation prepared to return to their ship, Admiral Kim noticed something unexpected. In the corridors of the council station, representatives from smaller, less powerful species watched the humans with something like hope in their alien eyes. They're looking at us strangely, Commander Park noted quietly. Not strangely, Kim replied. They're looking at us like we've shown them something possible that they thought was impossible. Back aboard their ship, President Choi called the delegation together for a private celebration. They had achieved what seemed impossible: Earth's recognition as an equal without firing a shot or giving up a single human life. To humanity's first diplomatic victory in interstellar politics, Choi said, raising a glass of champagne they'd brought from Earth. Admiral Kim took a small sip, then asked the question that had been bothering her. What happens when they realize we were bluffing about the weapons? Dr. Han smiled. By then, it won't matter. We'll have established relationships throughout the council. And besides, his eyes twinkled. Now that I know the theory is sound, I'm going to start working on making those weapons real. Just in case. They all laughed, but Kim knew he wasn't entirely joking. Throughout council space, word spread quickly. The humans, newcomers to the galactic stage, had stood up to the council and won. Species that had long submitted to tribute demands began to whisper among themselves, wondering if perhaps humans might teach them something about standing their ground. A new age was beginning in the galaxy, and humanity, for better or worse, was at its center.